Kevin Costner is paradoxical in that he is a naturally easygoing actor who excels at portraying those who are experiencing some intense, life-threatening compulsion. Consider Jim Garrison, the district attorney who spearheaded JFK's campaign, who goes through the looking glass to the point where he hardly recognizes himself, or Field of Dreams' cash-strapped farmer Ray Kinsella, who recklessly jeopardizes his own big crop and his status as a family man in order to build a baseball diamond at the whim of the voices in his brain. That latter part, as a countercultural immigrant turned Midwestern Don Quixote, whose unattainable goal is nothing less than the restoration of a lost national innocence, making America great again, one languid pop fly at a time, may yet stand as Costner's iconic portrayal. In a speech about baseball's timeless beauty that serves as a testament to the mesmerizing spell of nostalgia, one of Ray's fellow dreamers says, "It reminds us of all that was once good and it could be again." Ray, people will come. There will undoubtedly be a crowd. As the most cozy, reactionary blockbuster of the 1980s, Field of Dreams earned its star creative carte blanche, which he then used to reposition himself in the fashionable actor-director mogul mold of Warren Beatty and Robert Redford. It is a gentle fable of generational détente, strewn with mythic kitsch. Of course, Ray is a corn farmer, and bathed in the same sunshine glow as Ronald Reagan's re-election campaign. With his Oscar-winning directing debut, Dances with Wolves, 1990, a period piece that promoted its own grandiloquent metaphysics of reconciliation through the tale of a Union Army lieutenant, Costner, who forges a profound and redemptive spiritual connection with a group of Sioux Indians. Costner's multi-hyphenate phase came to an early peak. A few people, including Pauline Kael, who mocked Costner for having feathers in his hair and feathers in his head, were put off by the movie's blend of epic sweep and even more epic vanity. But overall, it gave its creator the confidence to experiment even more in front of and behind the camera. It made sense. If he constructed them, people would come. Then came the muddy mess that was Waterworld, an aquatic parody of Mad Max that brought Costner a ton of negative press and whose historical ratio of arrogance to humiliation was sealed by the trade press, which called it different names like Fishtar and Kevin's Gate. In hindsight, the majority of Costner's work from the late 1990s to the early 2000s seems to be a kind of white elephant graveyard. This includes a few botched attempts to recreate the dusty charm of Dances with Wolves, like The Postman, which combined sci-fi dystopian elements with classic Western aesthetics, and Open Range, which served them straight up. The ensemble heartland drama Yellowstone, which used its leading man's gravitas to garner high ratings and pop cultural resonance as what the New York Times dubbed a conservative fantasy liberals should watch, was ultimately what propelled Costner back to the top in the 21st century. Costner appeared to be trying out for symbolic national leading man status once more when he strode on stage at the Oscars following the Will Smith-Chris Rock controversy, waxing lyrical about the Cinerama Dome and the magic of the movies. Of course, this meant it was only a matter of time until he risked it all by tilting at the windmills of the industry. Which brings us to Horizon, a planned 4-part film series that has been dubbed an American saga. It is set in the late 19th century and tells several interconnected stories about the challenges facing a young country. This month, the 181-minute Chapter 1 will be released in theaters. A second installment, which has already been wrapped, is awaiting a revised release date after plans for an August release were abruptly scrapped. Parts 3 and 4 are in various stages of development and will mostly depend on the success of their predecessors and Costner's willingness to mortgage another of his homes to cover the overhead. Journalists quickly made the comparison between the $100 million curtain raisers Go for Broke narrative and Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, another independently funded film that balanced on the brink of ambition and foolishness when it debuted at Cannes. The distinction was that Costner's vision was characterized as steadfastly traditional, a genre exercise owing to John Ford, Howard Hawks, and other masters who, rather than so much recreating history as reinventing it in their own mythic image, while Coppola was praised for his attempts to stylistically reinvent his chosen art form. John Wayne famously said, "So this is where God put the West," upon his first visit to Arizona's breathtakingly picturesque Monument Valley. Although the film Horizon was shot in Utah, it aims to elevate the lunar scenery of that region and the unwavering determination of those who would attempt to explore and conquer it. The title conjures us an image of something elusive and ultimately unreachable, a mirage that simultaneously vanishes and looms eternally.